everybody, and welcome to my Real Talk Kim podcast channel. I am so excited that you're here. So listen, I don't know about you guys, but is it just me or is life flying? Like, we're already in the first week of December. How did that even happen? Here's my next question. Is your tree up? Some of y'all, it was the funniest thing watching on our on my news feeds in the last couple of months that y'all were putting trees up. Like, as soon as Halloween ended, y'all were putting trees up. And I love that because you can. One thing that I've learned in my life is that I'm grown and I can do whatever I want to do, right? Because I'm an adult. And so this is December, the first week in December. We are 3 or 4 weeks away, or 3 weeks away from Christmas. This is a very a different time, especially if you're starting over and it's your first holiday. The first are always hard. The first after a death, the first after a divorce, a first after your kid, empty nester, a first after, right? It's just a first are always hard. And so today we're going to talk about going from being stuck to unstoppable. That's what I want to talk about today. Going from being stuck to going into being unstoppable. Changing the game, changing the narrative. And so for all of you, I am Real Talk Kim. And listen, you can find out all you want to know about me by going to realtalkkim.com. I have a free app that will change your life. It is Real Talk Kim Go. It's your Google Play Store, your Apple Store, and just download my app. I give you notifications all throughout the day just to keep you encouraged. And also, you can watch this podcast now. This is my third podcast in my own studio. Do y'all love my studio? Is this not beautiful? So proud. Thank you to my team that is making this happen. It takes a village for us to do all this stuff for you. But now you can watch it from YouTube. You can watch it from podcast. You can watch it from so many different places. And so right now, if you don't mind, I would ask you to subscribe. Go right now, subscribe to this channel, and also share this content with somebody that needs to hear it today. There's a lot of people that are stuck and they're walking around saying, I'm stuck, but you ain't stuck because you ain't a tree. So today we're going to figure out how to get unstuck, whether it's after a death of a loved one, starting over in your life. It's never too late. It's never, ever, ever too late to get up. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So go subscribe, share this with somebody on your news feed, one of your family members that needs it. And also go give me 5 stars, because those 5 stars are what tells people all over the world who I am, right? 7.7 billion people in this world. They don't know who I am. And they're all looking for podcasts because podcasts are so cool now. So if you don't mind, do those things for me. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to toss this right now to a commercial, and then I'll be right back to chop it up with you. Welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here with me. You know what? It's so funny because I do live prayer calls as well on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. And people are always like, you're so lit, so early. And for so many years of my life, y'all, I have tried to calm myself down, try to be more calm, try to be like a normal 50-year-old woman. I just had a birthday 2 months ago. Thought maybe I would grow up. And now I'm just always excited, always lit. And so that's how this podcast is. This podcast is, I'm hoping that you leave this podcast excited, that my excitement rubs off on you, because I believe that who you hang with is so important. Because if you hang with negative people, you're going to be negative. If you hang with depressed people, you're going to be depressed. If you hang with gossipers, you're going to be a gossip. You can look at the 5 closest friends in your world, and your 5 closest friends are a prophecy into your future, right? And so whatever's in here trickles out into your life. And a critical spirit brings forth poverty. You could be working 3 or 4 jobs and not know why you can't make ends meet. And it's because everything that's coming out of your mouth is doom and gloom and sadness and fear and worry. And so I'm praying these podcasts are like a boost of fire in your tail to get you unstuck. Because guess what, y'all? It ain't nobody's place to help you help you. It ain't nobody owe you nothing. When I finally realized that, like, nobody owes me nothing. Nobody owes me nothing. I used to be one of those that would be like, I can see who my real friends are. When I'm walking through something, I can tell. No, you can't, because everybody's fighting their own battle. And so who are we to walk around in life feeling entitled that people were supposed to help us? Ain't nobody supposed to help you. It ain't nobody's job to get you unstuck. It's nobody's job to get you to stop crying over that relationship that ended. It is yours. All right? It is your job to finally get up, and really nothing changes until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, you've got to literally hate the position you're in to change it. Like, you can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna settle here. This is where I'm at, so I'm just gonna settle here. My life sucks. I'm just done forever. My past is the best it'll ever be. You can't have that mentality. You deserve more. So I finally figure that out, and that's why I'm on 100 all the time, because happiness is a choice, and it's your choice. So I want to talk about today going from being stuck to unstoppable. You know, my daddy was my everything. In fact, he was like my he was my whole family's everything. Like, he was the dad that took care of everything for all of us. He would tell us where to sit at the dinner table. I mean, he was just like the lion of our family. And I never could imagine my life without my dad, ever. Like, I couldn't even fathom. In fact, probably the reason, a lot of the reason that my relationships went funky was because my dad was such a great husband for 52 years to my mom, and he had his flaws, okay? But he always came through them. He just gave me an idea of what a relationship, a dad, is supposed to be in your life, and I didn't choose those kinds. And so through it all, we lost my daddy 2 years ago, and I remember in the room with him. He got diagnosed with dementia 5 years previously. And when he got the diagnosis of dementia, we were all like, no, not our dad. Our dad, he is the smartest man we know. He can quote the Bible without ever even opening the Bible. Like, he is brilliant. He's fearless, and he's a lion. He literally changes the atmosphere when he walks in a room. There's no way. And it went so fast that this disease took over his mind in such a way that my dad went from a boss to a baby. Like, literally, this disease made him into a little boy. He reverted. And it was probably a good thing, because it taught me and my family how to, like, we grieved every day for 5 years because we'd lose him every day. And when my dad died, I remember it was devastating, because I had never had anybody close to me die. And the finale of, I'm never going to get to talk to my dad again, was so real at that moment. I just was like, oh my God, who am I going to ever talk to? Who am I going to ask suggestions from? Who's gonna be the dad in my kid's life? Like, there was just so many thoughts going through my head, and I was mad at God. Like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I was so mad that there are all these people living in this world that are sucking up the air, not doing anything good. They're just not good people. They're just bad behaviored people. Why didn't they die? I'm going to be honest with you. I was thinking those things. Like, how are you not going to heal my dad? I've watched people in my meetings get healed from MS. I mean, I laid hands on them and you worked through me. There was healing that took place in their minds, tumors falling off. And you can't heal my daddy? Like, I just knew God was going to heal him. And I remember as my dad was taking his last breath, my mother that had served my dad for 52 years was leaning over my dad. And she said, baby, serving you was the greatest assignment of my life. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh. Like it was the reality of this woman, all she's known for 52 years is serving my dad and me and my brother. Whatever my dad needed, my mama did it. And I honestly thought this woman's going to fall apart. Like, what is she going to do herself? Because now I'm traveling all over the world. I'm writing books. I'm living YOLO. And now what is she going to do? And I watched my mom learn how to mourn and move. I remember when my dad was dying, I was like, God, I can't preach tomorrow because he died on a Saturday night. I'm like, there's no way I can get up and preach. I pastor a whole church, his old church. And you're going to expect me to get up and preach tomorrow, and there ain't no way I can preach. I'm devastated. And I remember the Lord speaking to me and saying, mourn and move. Mourn and move. That's what I did. That's what my mom did. That's what my sons did. That's what my brother and his family did. We mourned and moved. So I want to give you some of the steps that me and my family took, because listen, mourning and moving is easy to say, but every single day you got to mourn and move. Every single day you got to get up and move when you don't want to. You got to make grown up decisions without your dad that was the one that always confirmed or denied what I needed to do in my future. You got to learn how to mourn and move. And so I want to give you critical steps that me and my family took that enabled me, my sons, my mother, my brother, his family, to move forward in our lives that really it's going to help improve. It's going to help improve your life. Because the minute you realize they're not coming back and you have a legacy, this can go for divorce. This can go for starting over after you've been at a job for 38 years and that's all you've known and they let go of you, right? And now you got to start all over again. These are some critical steps that me and my family took that helped us recover beautifully. Does it still hurt? Yes. Do we still have moments and days where we grieve? Yes. Right? Here's one of the first steps we did. Are y'all ready for this? Allow yourself to grieve. You ain't all that big and bad, okay? Like y'all, this is for any relationship. This is for a loved one dying. This is for marriage dissolve, kids disowning you, whatever. Allow yourself to grieve. Grieving is normal. How and for how long you grieve is really an individual decision. Now, some of y'all been grieving for 12 years, 15 years, 5 years. Can't I suggest to you that your loved one would want you to live? I remember when here's how I did it. I would tell myself, I believe my dad died too soon. I believe this was a generational curse and this was untimely. I do. I feel like that he left too soon. He had so much to do still. And the way I processed it was I began to tell God, I want every person that my father was going to win to Jesus, I want to win them. Every platform stage that my daddy was going to stand on, I want to stand on it. Every new church location, he wanted to have churches all over Atlanta. That's why I'm opening churches all over Atlanta. God has given me the desire and the hunger and the longing to carry the legacy out of my father. So every time I wanted to quit, I realized I can't quit because I have a legacy to carry out, right? So grieving is important. There's nobody that can tell you how to grieve, right? How intense it's going to be, how they did it versus how you do it. But you got to understand that grieving is good. And sometimes you need to sit down with a pastor, with a coach, with a mentor. I've got so many people in my inner circle, my RTK inner circle, that literally joined my inner circle during the pandemic because they lost loved ones in the pandemic. Their loved ones died in a room by themselves and they could not let it go. They had the dreams, the visions, they couldn't move on. Now they've moved on, and now I'm helping them reclaim their life and carry out the legacy. Here's number 2. You got to define, destroy, or drive. Define, destroy, or drive. Loss often requires us to make a choice between one of the following. Will this loss define you? Will it destroy you? Or will it drive you? What's it going to do? Because it's going to do one or the other. Is this loss going to define me? Is it going to destroy me? Or is it going to drive me? What would your loved one want you to do? Which one would they want you to choose? What will you choose? To destroy you, define you, or drive you? It's got to drive you. It's got to drive you. It's got to give you the desire to get up and take your life back and carry out the legacy. You cannot let it define you. You cannot let it make you drown. You cannot lay in your bed in a million pieces crying over them not being here. You can't do it. You got to get up, and nobody can make you get up but you. Right? Yes, you're going to have days where you just want to lay in your bed. But in those days are when you have to get up and you have to go serve somewhere. You have to go give of your time. You have to get on social media, preach your way through it, right? Go get a job. Do something that's going to get your mind off of sitting in your house, dying a slow death because someone you loved removed themselves from your life or died. All right? Here's number 3. Find and embrace your village. Friends, family, grief-related community organizations, they all provide much needed support in the time of loss. But you have to be willing to accept it. You can't sit at home, y'all, and drink 2 bottles of wine every night or 4 because you're so devastated. The Bible says the Bible says in Joel 2:25 that God's going to give you back everything that the devil stole. All right. So if he's going to give you back everything the devil stole, it still means you have to participate in the movement. So in order for God to take something that broke your heart and make it a bestseller, you have to get a pen and paper out to write the bestseller. Like, every time there was ever a miracle in the Bible, there was first a problem. And then there was movement. Like every time. Even when the man was with the withered hand, was before God, he was told, stretch out your hand and you will be made whole. God could have just touched it, but he knew that if he just touched it, there was a manifestation of great healing for this man's mind and heart when he knew that he had faith enough to believe that God could do the impossible and heal him, right? Even the man at the pool of Bethesda. The man at the pool of Bethesda had laid there for 38 years. And all of a sudden, he's asked, do you want to be made well? Not do you want to feel better. He was asked, do you want to be made well? Do you want to be healed? And the next part of what God said to him was, pick up your mat and walk. Like, dude, you're going to make me clean my room? You're literally going to make me get up, pick up my mat. I've been laying here for 38 years. Why had he been laying there for 38 years? Have you ever thought about that? Like, the Bible doesn't say that his limbs grew out, his hands grew out, his legs grew out. No. It says it says that literally he was told, pick up your mat and walk. He got up, took his mat and walked. That leads me to believe that there's something in this man's life that broke him for 38 years. His legs work, his arms work, but his mind told him it's over. Just lay here. No one loves you. No one believes in you. Everybody's walked out on you. There's no hope for you. And this man's going to 38 years at the pool of Bethesda. The pool of Bethesda represented comfortability. Around that pool was all kinds of people that were just like him, stuck at this pool, until one day he encountered a good father that found him and said, today, get up and walk. Could it have been that God knew that this was the right time for him? That's why God went and told him to pick up that mat and walk, because he knew this day that the man would be willing to have faith in his healing. So, have you been laying at your pool for 38 years? Have you been laying in your bed for 38 years? Have you been complaining and lost and devastated for 38 years over something that happened to you as a kid? Maybe your dad molested you. Maybe your brother, maybe your uncle, maybe your mom was mentally ill and laid in bed and couldn't be a mother to you. Maybe your parents divorced and that killed you because you never saw it coming. Maybe, just maybe, you were in special ed your whole life and people told you would never amount to anything. I don't know what your story is, but I do know today that your story is not what happened to you. You made it. You made it. You are not that addiction. You are not that bad divorce. You are not what happened to you. That was an event that took place in your life. You are an overcomer. You are an overcomer. You are more than a conqueror. All right, so you got to get up today. That's the point. Here's another step. You got to avoid prolonged isolation. You know why God told him to take that mat up and walk? He told him to take that mat up and walk because he told him to clean his room. He told him because he knew that if he wouldn't have picked that mat up, that man would have went back because it was comfortable. Some of y'all need to burn some bridges today, because those bridges are gonna teach you not to go back to something you don't need to go back to in the first place. It's gonna show you to stop giving CPR to dead situations. It's gonna show you that you are more valuable than staying in a relationship broken with somebody that ain't fighting for you, that don't love you, that don't call you, that goes weeks without talking to you, and you're stuck on them. You're stuck on silly, basically. Today, let it go. Number 4, avoid prolonged isolation. Y'all, it's natural for you to want to grieve in silence. It's natural for you to want to cry a million tears when they walk out on you. It's natural to be simply alone, to want to be alone, to reflect on treasured memories. That's okay. But listen, alone time is something we all crave on occasion, even when we aren't dealing with loss. However, in time, strive to be in the company of others when it makes sense. Get in my inner circle. Find you a church. Get involved in a church. Do something that is going to force you to begin to live again. Get around people that will not enable you in that dysfunction. Get around people that look at you and say, I'm coming over. We're going to go eat together. As much as you hate it, stop letting yourself die a slow death. The goal is to ensure that you are not slipping into a state of loneliness, which when prolonged can lead to depression. That's right. Depression. Here's number 5. Set realistic goals for yourself. All right. Stop comparing yourself to people on social media. People only put up their highlight reels. Stop it. Set realistic goals. By being realistic, I mean anything that feels real for you. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks. What will you do with your loved one's possessions? Will anybody ever love me again? Should I keep my last name or should I change it? Should I Stop. Allow the process. All right? Allow yourself to begin to take baby steps to your new life and stop focusing on the devastation, right? Here's number 6. Get reacquainted with self-care. When my daddy died, my mother had to relearn life because for 5 years she was his caretaker. So, you know what my mother did? When my daddy died, she took 6 months and she wrote a book called Sleeping with a Stranger. And that book helped her heal. My mother could have died, but she didn't. I swept her up. She went on the road with me, right? My staff, I've got people in this building. I got people that come to this church. I got people that literally was dying slow deaths after divorce and kids being addicted and just all kinds of crazy stuff in their families. And because they got involved in my ministry here, helping me make heaven more crowded, it got them off of thinking about all that they had lost. And it started focusing on, because serving is what helps you heal, right? Serving is part of your purpose. And so you got to get reacquainted with yourself, with self-care, because it's easy to overlook yourself. You got to be determined to live again, especially during this time of starting over. However, remember, when you are not taking care of yourself, everyone in your circle suffers. Kids suffer. Everybody, even your adult children suffer. Everybody suffers. So you have to schedule times to take care of yourself. And sometimes that's hard, y'all, especially when you've been with somebody for 52 years and you're having to learn how to eat by yourself at a restaurant, or you're having to learn how to go to a dentist appointment, make your own appointments. Maybe you were with the man that took care of you and you never worked. Now all of a sudden you have to start over. Listen to me. You got what it takes. It is in you. Your best days are in front of you. So start. Even if you fall. I got a friend that was a caretaker her whole life, her entire life. And now she never even had a phone bill in her name. She lived with her parents. She took care of her family. She was the main caregiver for 65 years. She took care of her mom and dad. Never got married. Her family, her mama and her daddy died, and she was left with having to figure out how to live. She wanted to quit. She was scared. She was alone. What is she going to do with herself? How is she going to get a phone in her name? How is she going to get the house put in her name? How is she going to get her own electric bill? How is she going to manage a bank account? And I've watched her over the last year figure it out. Why? She has a phenomenal community at this church, Limitless Church, that won't let her quit. If we would not have been in her life, she's a part of my inner circle. If we would not have been in her life and made her figure it out and made her move forward and made her realize that her best days are in front of her, she could have quit. So today, make yourself move. Here's number 7. Implement processes that enable you to manage yourself and your family and your career. So putting systems and processes in place, such as daily schedules, put your bills on auto pay so you ain't got to remember so much, right? Go sit down with a financial person that'll help you figure out your bills, put you on a budget. Y'all, you can't do it by yourself. You need a community, right? Normalcy is a good thing. You gotta stay in front and get rid of extra stress that you ain't got to fool with. Here's number 8. Honor your loved one's memory, especially if they passed away. Honor them. Find a cause. We walk every year in the dementia Alzheimer's walk. Why? Because we're honoring my father that died at 72 years old. It just does something to you to be able to honor something, right? And a lot of times, y'all, when you're walking through starting over, it's just good to get involved in a cause anyways. Here's number 9. Create a sense of purpose for your life. We all have one, every one of us, all of you watching today, you have a purpose. God created you with a purpose. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Loss, unfortunately, reminds us that life is quick. So you got to follow your passions to create a sense of purpose. Next podcast I'm going to help you find your purpose. That's what we're going to talk about. Finding your purpose. All right? So you got to follow your passion to create a sense of purpose and begin to live it every single day. All right? And here's the last one. Give yourself permission to move forward with your life guilt-free. Give yourself permission. Like Mimi, y'all, my mom, she was married for 52 years. And she's actually entertaining the thought of getting a man friend. What? Because she chose to mourn and move. You might have literally faced the biggest rejection of your life, and now you're staring at having to pick yourself up after your husband walked out on you at 38 years of marriage. And all you know is taking care of him and the kids. Look at my eyeballs. You have purpose. You had it before and you have it now. This is just a new season. This is just a new season. This does not mean that it's going to be hard. It's as hard as you make it. So today, I would encourage you to let go, let God, and you know what? Listen to this podcast. Go back and listen to all my podcasts. I will help you get free. But today, remember, you ain't dead, God ain't done. And you cannot let the rut make you rot. You cannot let a season in your life define your lifetime. So right now, I'm going to throw this off to a commercial, and then I'm coming right back to close this out. You are important. You are amazing. You are awesome. You are valuable. You are priceless. And I'm excited about your future. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm so excited that you've spent this time with me today. I really pray that every podcast you watch of mine is something that provokes a dream back in you. Because we all have dreams. We all have purpose. If anybody knows what it's like for failed dreams to wreak havoc in your life, it's me. One of the areas that always messes us up is because we're in a society that has rules of you should be married at this time, you should have kids at this time, you should own a house at this time. So it's really easy now because of social media to be putting yourself on these plans, these timelines. And when these timelines don't work the way that you timeline them, it's really, really easy to find yourself stuck. And when you get stuck, it's hard to find your way out. It really is. And it's really, really hard to find your way out when you've got kids to raise through the failed marriage or the grief of losing a loved one. It's really hard to find your way in the messy middle, how to move out of it. And so I believe that this podcast today, if you will allow it to just get down deep inside of you, God's going to give you some revelation that's going to let you realize that greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world, and that you are important, and that you have a destiny, and you have a future that's going to blow your mind. And you know what? You need to do it for your kids. You need to do it for your grandkids. You need to get up for your future today. All right? I want to pray for you. I love you. I'm believing in you. And I'm the president of your fan club today. I have your back, your front, your top, your bottom. I got you. I'm pulling you out of the depths of defeat today. Let me. And most of all, let God. Because God is the one that sent me here today to give you this word because He knew you needed a good swift kick to go forward. All right? Let me pray for you. Father, I just thank you right now for my incredible podcast family that, Lord, today somebody decided to get up. Somebody today decided to stop focusing on what failed and focus on their future. That somebody today realized that just because they felt broken didn't mean it was a bad thing, because you love to take broken things and make it beautiful. Like, without us being broken, we would never have needed to be fixed. Without that divorce, we would have never found out we're stronger than we thought. Without that death of a loved one, we would have never realized that we can make it through hard things. Without having to start all over again, we would have never gotten a job that put us in a position to be the first millionaire in our family, to write that book out of the pain. There's purpose in our pain. And so, Lord, I thank you today that you're igniting a fire on the inside of us and that you're radically changing us forever. December, the first week in December, by the time we get to 2023, on December the 31st, we will not be the same. That we will walk into 2023 busting open life. That we will walk into 2023 changed and radically doing things differently. So, Lord, I pray hope, peace, joy, and understanding and wisdom in my friends today. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, and amen. Man, I love y'all so much. Make sure that you're going to realtalkkim.com, subscribing, become a partner. Get on all my social media platforms. I'm on every platform, Real Talk Kim, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of it, you name it. My YouTube channel, Real Talk Kim. Y'all, stay connected. Subscribe to this podcast right here. You can carry me in your pocket. Sometimes you just need a season of somebody talking to you and reminding you of your destiny. I love you so much. If you're ever in Atlanta, I invite you to be a part of my church, Limitless Church, 1653 Highway 85 South, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30215. Also, go get in my mentorship program right now. You can also buy all these clothes on my website, realtalkkim.com. Be a part. I love you, and I will see you next week.